On the news at 1, federal government reiterates commitment to ensuring efficient utilization of funds to address needs of Nigerians. Nigeria Police Force commences physical and credential screening for applicants into the force. And Al-Habibia Islamic Society of Nigeria holds 21st anniversary. Hello there, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the news desk of NTA Channel 5 Abuja at 1. My name is Tessie Omei. Thank you for joining us. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is transparent and accountable to the people and committed to ensuring that public funds are allocated and utilized effectively and efficiently to address the needs of Nigerians. In a statement, the minister adds that the Ministry of Information and National Orientation acknowledges the concerns raised by the public regarding the alleged payment of funds into a private account by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, and assured Nigerians that the government takes the issue seriously. He says the president has directed that a thorough and comprehensive investigation be conducted to ascertain the accuracy and validity of the reported details in order to unravel the truth, and assured that the appropriate action will be taken to ensure that any breaches and infractions are identified and decisively punished in line with the administration's commitment to public accountability and due process. The minister, however, advised the public against the use of various unverified narratives circulating on the internet, stating that the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, under the leadership of Mohammed Idris, is the primary source for verified information about events and actions of the federal government of Nigeria. The ministry, he added, is committed to providing timely updates to keep Nigerians informed about the progress of the investigation, and urged Nigerians to exercise patience as the investigation unfolds, and assured that government is focused on ensuring a fair and unbiased process, and the findings will be communicated duly and transparently to the public. And on security, the Nigerian Police Force has commenced physical and credential screening for applicants into the rank of police constables and general duty and specialist cadres. Asabe Williams reports that the exercise, which held at the FCT Police Command, had about 600 applicants participating.
Declaring the screening exercise open, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Haruna Garba, told shortlisted applicants to ensure that they have original copies of their certificates, as the police will not condone falsehood and forgery of certificates. He urged them to be of good conduct throughout the screening process.
This day, 600 applicants will be screened, and there will be a mop-up at the end of the exercise. That is, those who have not been able to be screened during this period, the last day will be the last period where they will do the mop-up screening. And I want to inform all the applicants here that this exercise is free. You are not going to pay a kobo to anybody. The IGP, Kade, Egbetokun, PhD, NPM had already illustrated this point. So, whoever asks you to bring money, don't give.
This procedure, the CP says, is necessary due diligence to ensure the right candidates apply and get recruited into the force. The screening exercise continues until 29th January 2024. In Abuja, Asabe Williams, NTA News.
And to address multiple challenges faced by the women, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has placed women issues at the front burner. The FCT Women Affairs Secretary says the Secretariat has made tremendous progress in the year 2023. Sandra Akame reviews activities in the women's sector.
The Secretariat, which is committed to working with all other mandate secretariats for the benefit of the women, has addressed the issue of gender-based violence, which was on the increase, by taking the awareness to the grassroots, using traditional rulers, community leaders, as well as adolescent girls, which made the Secretariat to emerge first position on the national dashboard. The FCT Mandate Secretary Dayo Benjamin Lani explained that the Secretariat used the National Dashboard of Gender-Based Violence for 16 days activism to create more awareness on the underreporting and state of crisis in the communities in the 6 area councils. Amongst other achievements is the political positioning for the women, as well as the First Ladies Program, the Renewed Hope Initiative for the Elderly, who have been empowered financially and with medical intervention.
Left behind, put aside, marginalized, being able now to board them on these programs, not as imaginary, but as Nigerians with full representation of their own desired social investment interests and areas of social development, giving them priority on a scale where they have not had that level of opportunity handed to them.
Other achievements within the 1 year include activities by the non-governmental organizations where they provide support to the less privileged, market women, communities across the FCT.
For us as mothers to bring up our children, because the nation wants good children, they will be the leaders of tomorrow.
We are no more getting younger. We now need to stand up and fight the cause of women, if not because of us, because of our unborn children.
If you empower one woman, it means to empower the whole world.
Although successes were recorded in the year 2023, some challenges were also identified by the FCT Mandate Secretary.
All of that has its dynamics that are challenges. So, yes, I work with very real challenges. I may not look like I'm challenged, but the challenges are real. But just setting up structures that become scalable, resilient, but most importantly, that truly represent the legacy that dispensationally has given me this opportunity, one of renewed hope.
The women are optimistic that, with the turn of things, there will be a better performance in 2024. In Abuja, Sandra Akeme, NTA News.
And against all odds of human onslaught, imaginations, naysayers, and prophets of doom, as well as the plan of conspirators about Nigeria, the country, through her people of faith, are surmounting all challenges, with 2023 not an exception. The clergy believe God's continued mercy has kept the ride on with everything intact. Our religious correspondent Abuja, in this report, reminds us of how religion shaped the citizens in the year 2023.
Religion remains fundamental and a very sensitive phenomenon in Nigeria, with citizens allowed the freedom to choose any religion of their choice. This, of course, has continued to shape and mold beliefs. 2023 in the religious realm saw Nigerians continued with their faith and hopes high, even as they work and pray harder to surmount all socio-economic as well as political challenges in the country. For Nigeria and the citizens, the year 2023 provided God's sanctuary for adherents of all religions. From January to December, faithful kept hope alive in worship of their Creator, in whom they always trust for bounties, mercy and endless grace of possibilities in their individual and national endeavors. Of course, the year in February was pregnant with a lot of socio-political activities, including the general elections, that was a litmus test to Nigeria's ethno-religious unity.
Nigerians were confronted with a keenly contested election, which gave birth to a brand new government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president and Kashim Shettima as vice president. And a lot of prophecies and counter-prophecies ensued from different parts of the country. But the joy of it all is that at the end of it all, the will of God has prevailed.
That phase is today's history, life returning to normal, with better understanding and lessons on the need to always observe politics and religion.
That at the end of it, Nigeria is still one united big giant of Africa and still together as one nation.
Sermons week in and week out from both the Christian and Muslim worship centers provided a living seed in the utmost conviction that the Supreme Being is always in charge of the affairs of man and indeed Nigeria. The sermon on religious tolerance and interfaith dialogue continued with Nigeria Interreligious Council, NIRIC, sustaining the advocacy at different fora during the year. This is in addition to a number of national prayers held to seek God's divine intervention in the prosperity and challenges of the country. Of course, talking about the year 2023 would not be complete without the mention of the unfortunate incidences of the tragic Dunamis Church collapse building, where a pastor lost his life at Mission Ward, North Bank, Makudi, Benue State, and the Tudunbiri military drone mishap that claims scores of lives of worshippers early in December.
I want us to keep praying. I want us to keep trusting God. It's a time to praise God. Praise God until you get into 2024 and keep a stable and a good character. Your greatness will be delivered.
Uncertainty of the future and the prospects it holds, these clerics say, can be guaranteed with the same trust and belief in God, who has seen the country through all her phases of challenges, as against false prophecies of naysayers. In Abuja, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
Many thanks, Sajia, for the review of religious activities in the year 2023. We're not done yet with religious matters, as I have with me this afternoon in the studio Chief Imam Fuad Adeyemi, who is the National Chairman of Al-Abibia Society of Nigeria. We thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
You've watched from the background report where we talked about naysayers and prophets of doom and all sorts. And then at the end of the day, we still came out victorious as Nigerians. Yeah. As a people of faith, how can you put in retrospect the year 2023?
Well, thank you. And we thank God that we are in the new year, and God in His infinite mercy has really blessed us and supported us to be part of those who are alive. If you look at our country, Nigeria is one of the countries of the world that we know that we are highly religious. Almost every aspect of our life is religious. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to do, relationship, social, economic, we put religion in everything. And at the end of the day, most of the time we remove God. We only put religion. And it is only religion that directs us, and not most of the time, not God. And what do I mean?
So when you say you to religion, you remove God.
You remove God.
I'm not wondering.
Yes. The issue is that most religious, so-called religious leaders are actually being led by their whims and caprices, not be thinking of God. What does God exactly want? Because a religious leader is somebody who is in between God and the people. And you are not just the one that you want something from God alone for yourself, and you try to enslave the people under you because of your personal interest. That's what I said. So if you look at 2023, it is not an exception in which so many religious people felt that they have put God in a cargo, that they want to determine what God will do and what God will not do, forgetting whom they are precisely, that they are just a servant in the hand of that God. And they are talking as if they are the one who's having the control of everything in their hand. Forget about that God. And that is why I say we allow religion to dictate every aspect of our life. For example, and not allowing God to be in charge. Because when you see this one, they say, for example, when the election wanted to start in January, everyone was saying Muslim ticket, Christian ticket. The question we should have asked if we are men of God, like, is it the decision of God? Yeah, there will have been anybody who claims to be religious person that is being sent by God. The first thing they will question is is this decision of God.
And God's decision is always supreme.
It's always
So
supreme.
now tell us, how has religion helped us as a nation?
Well, despite that, if you look at the history of religion generally, you discover that if you look at our education, you look at even the economy, you discover that religion has really helped us. Look at the establishment of a lot of schools in which these religious organizations have established. Despite the challenges which they are facing, it is still one of the development that the government, the nation has reaped from. And also, it will interest you that even Nigeria, one of the things we export to the world is music. And we have religious induced music that has also placed us in the map of the people, of the heroes of musical movements in the world. For example, there is a particular music in Yoruba land they call Were, which has now returned to Fuji. It actually started in Ramadan. It is meant to wake people who are sleeping through the month of Ramadan for the Sahur, and they became something, it now became an international acceptable music that everybody takes. Also, if you look at the history of Nigeria, you see that the politics, the economy of the country, most of the time was actually based on the religious leaders who are, especially the Muslims, who are linking the Saudi Arabia and other Arab nations because of Islam, and even from the West, those who are linking European countries based on religious, and the two were brought together and were able to achieve what we are achieving today.
Okay, so
and also, most importantly, the issue of prayers. Despite the fact that so many people have removed God from their religiosity, so many of us are still believe that it is God that will decide. And that prayer, no matter the extent at which things are being done, prayers is still working.
Okay, so now, as a nation, how can we now utilize our strength, in religion, rather than exploiting? You talked about some leaders exploiting religion, where you say talking about religion without God, who is the religion itself. So how do we exploit, use our strength, to gain from
First
religion?
and foremost, government itself should not downplay the strength of religion in this country. And we're deceiving ourselves that if we think that because we are secular, yes, we are secular. To strengthen the secularity, government should become more interested in the religiosity of this nation. How, or what do I mean? There should be an office. There should be a kind of a meeting point where government will be able to have a say. It might not be direct, so that we'll be able to have, we'll have a sane environment for religious life. Then secondly, we need to work together as a nation. Nigeria is blessed. We have a very huge number of Muslims and close to that number of Christians. If the entire world, and what polarized the world mainly today is about Christian and Muslim. If we're able to bring all this strength together, everything that is happening in the Islamic world, we're able to bring it to the country. Everything that is happening in Christian world, we're able to bring it to the country. At the end of the day, nothing will be in this world that will not be in the reach of Nigerians. That is when we are sincere, when we come forward and we work together, and that is the only time that we will be able to move our nation forward.
Okay, so now you have talked about having the major religion, Christian and Muslims, and we're looking at how do we harmonize our religious differences for national peace and unity.
Yes, I think this is where we have to thank NTA.
Okay.
There is a program that is ongoing in NTA now called Abrahamic Mission. And why do I say we have to thank NTA? If you notice the problem we are having among ourselves, it is ignorance, ignorance, and ignorance.
Sure.
And ignorance in the first instance, the Muslim does not know anything about his religion, the Christian does not know anything about his religion, and we do not know each other people's religion. That's why I say ignorance in 3 stages. If the Muslims were able to understand what exactly does God want, how does God want him to treat other people who is not of his religion, we will be able to work well. The same thing, if a Christian knows his religion well, not following the whims and caprices of some group of people who are staying in one place because of their interest, and we learn our religion, we know our religion, and we do the right thing. And you also you need idea to know what is happening in other religion. Why do they do what they do? What is the reason behind of the thing which they do not do that which you do? That is what I call education, education, and education. And that's why we have to thank NTA once again. The Abrahamic Mission has provided a platform, an opportunity for understanding, for harmony, for education, for information, and the right education for that purpose. So at the end of the day, we need to understand ourselves to be able to live together. And when we understand ourselves, you won't scheme, you won't pretend to love somebody you don't love. But when you understand, the moment you see him, you say, you don't know why he's doing that, it's because of so thing. You will convince in your mind, not that you are managing that person, but you are understanding why he's doing what he's doing. And that's the difference between tolerance and understanding.
Okay, thank you so much for your own perspective. Quite an interesting one, I must say, about how religion fared in the year 2023. And we're hoping for sustenance.
By God's
because
grace.
from what you have said, it's all about positives, despite so many
Challenges.
prophecies
Yes.
and challenges. We thank you so much,
Thank you so
Imam
much.
Fuad Adeyemi, for coming to the news at 1.
Very grateful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We now go on a short break. When we return, we have more reports. Please stay with us.
Good evening. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
I will celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
Jama'a barkanmu da wannan
The latest station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
Many thanks for staying with us. It was all praises to Almighty Allah as an Islamic organization, Al-Habibia Islamic Society, celebrated its 21 years of existence. Our correspondent Hawa Gimba reports that 11 different awards were given out to personalities as part of the anniversary celebration.
Founded in 2003 with a vision to be one of the famous organizations in the propagation of Islam, the Al-Habibia Society, which also promotes peaceful coexistence through social integration, is celebrating another feat at its 21st anniversary lecture. Devoted to raising moral ethical standards among Nigerian Muslims, the Islamic Society works with scholars in the states to establish Islamic value reorientation through educational engagements. Islamic leaders and followers raise the consciousness of participants through leadership training and mentorship.
This is what, there should be, masajid and religious organizations should be empower institution. They should be inspiring institution. Our youth should want to always come to the masjid.
I see Habibia changing the world physically. What do I mean? That we'll be able to see ourselves as one, and we'll be able to provide for ourselves. I'll be able to see Al-Habibia becoming a model for every good thing, not just to the Muslim, but to the entire world.
The 24th anniversary of Al-Habibia Islamic Society of Nigeria also featured presentations of awards to individuals and organizations that distinguished themselves in promoting the religious tenets.
For my husband, who passed on about 3 years ago, for him to be recognized even 3 years after he has gone is a big achievement.
I also thank Allah for being recognized. It's an encouragement. I try to do more.
For me, as an individual, this award or this recognition is to do more.
I thank Al-Habibia Islamic Society for finding me worthy, for recognizing my contribution.
As part of the activities to mark the anniversary, a special prayer session was held where Muslim congregants across offered devotional prayers for peace, Nigeria's economic recovery, Muslim unity, social and political cohesion. Hawagimba, NTA News.
And on the sports scene, as we begin countdown to the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast, sports correspondent Francisca Biller puts in perspective a brief of the tournament.